Mom, Dad, I humbly suggest you save some money and shop Amazon for back to school. It's for my growth, meaning my body's growing at an alarming rate. And clothes you buy me this year will be very small very soon. Plus, the clothes I love today will be out of style tomorrow. But at least your wallet doesn't have to be my fashion victim if you shop low prices for school at Amazon. Hopefully this is helpful. Amazon. Spend less, smile more.
Yup, that's who you think it is. The Grimace Mug. The Hello Kitty keychain. Barbie herself. For a limited time, your favorite McDonald's collectibles filled with memories and magic are now on collectible cups. Get one of 6 when you order a collector's meal at McDonald's with your choice of a Big Mac or 10-piece McNuggets. Come get your cup while you still can. At participating McDonald's for a limited time while supplies last. Yup, that's who you think it is. The Grimace Mug. The Hello Kitty keychain. Barbie herself. For a limited time, your favorite McDonald's collectibles filled with memories and magic are now on collectible cups. Get one of 6 when you order a collector's meal at McDonald's with your choice of a Big Mac or 10-piece McNuggets. Come get your cup while you still can. At participating McDonald's for a limited time while supplies last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Two-Footed Podcast here on EPL Index. Now, before we kick things off today, I just want to share something with everybody. This episode is brought to you by our partners at Sky Bet. We've teamed up with Sky Bet because they truly understand what it means to be a fan. Sky Bet appreciates the length that people go through to support their team in all areas, whether you're a match-going fan or otherwise, and there's just no better fit for us right now than a partnership with the good folks at Sky Bet. So with that said, let's go. What's good, boys and girls? Two-Footed Podcast back and better than ever. Today is Monday. It is the 12th of August, and football is back. As you will have heard before this podcast, today's episode is brought to you by Sky Bet, because the Sky Bet Championship is back, Sky Bet League 1, Sky Bet League 2. So let's get into it and look at what was a very, very exciting weekend in the lower leagues of English football. So let's start with the Championship. Preston North End 2, Preston North End 0, Sheffield United 2, Arblaster and Gus Hammer with the goals. I can't believe Gus Hammer is still with Sheffield United. He's a Premier League player all day. Would expect him to get a move before the window closes. Blackburn Rovers 4, Derby County 2. Dolan, Vyman, Schmodix and Ohashi with the goals. Nelson and Kane Wilson with the goals for Derby. Cardiff City 0, Sunderland 2. Big win for Sunderland away. Luke O'Nien and Jack Clark, another one. I'm a little bit surprised. Hasn't gotten a move to the Premier League yet, but they get the goals and Sunderland get the win. QPR 1, West Brom 3. Josh Maggio with an opening day hat-trick. Lucas Anderson had put QPR 1-0 up, but the Baggies leave with all 3 points. Big result for them on the road. Middlesbrough 1, Swansea 0. Emmanuel Latelat with the only goal from a penalty on the 25th minute. Michael Carrick will want at least the playoffs this year. Now, I don't know if they'll get it because it's going to be very tough competition, but last season was viewed as a bit of a disappointment for Borough. I think they're going to make a promotion push this year. They wouldn't be among the teams I would say are likely to come up, but I do think in Carrick they've got a very talented young manager. Leeds 3, Portsmouth 3. Huge result for Portsmouth to go to Elland Road and get a draw. Struijk put Leeds 1 up. Elias Sorensen equalised. Then Callum Lang put Pompey 2-1 up. Wilfred Nonto, another one who I'm stunned is still in the Championship, scoring just after half-time to equalise. Then a Callum Lang penalty in the 92nd minute looked to have given Portsmouth the most unlikely of opening day victories. But Brendan Aronson, in the 95th minute, saving Leeds after coming off the bench. I think if he sticks there this season, he's going to be one of the best players in the Championship. I still think he might go out on loan because he's probably too good for the Championship and probably views himself that way. But if they can keep him around, he is a very, very talented player. Millwall 2, Watford 3. Kayembe and Chakvetadze put Watford 2-0 up. Duncan Watmore scored 2 in the 74th and 88th minute to look like he'd rescued a draw for Millwall. Barajevic in the last minute giving Watford a win over their London rivals. Oxford United 2, Norwich 0. Massive result for Oxford, newly promoted. Mark Harris and Cameron Brannigan, formerly of Liverpool, with the goals in that one. Stoke 1, Coventry City 0. Lewis Baker with the only goal. Disappointing for Coventry, who will have serious promotion ambitions this year. Stoke trying to bounce back after a couple of poor seasons. We'll see how it plays out for them this season. Should be fun, though. Schumacher's a manager I do like. I think we'll see a different Hull, or different Stoke, rather, than what we're used to. Speaking of Hull, Hull 1, Bristol 1. Boring game. Mayulu scores in the 84th minute to give Bristol City the lead, but Oscar Stupinian in the 91st minute from the penalty spot gives Hull a share of the spoils. And then yesterday we had one game, Sheffield United 4, Plymouth Argyle 0. Jamal Lowe recently signed, Brendan Galloway an own goal, Josh Windass, son of Dean Windass, and a late Michael Smith goal. This was about as one-sided a game as you're likely to see. 31 shots to 5, 11 on target to 1. Wayne Rooney is not a good football manager, and this was yet another example of why. After match week 1, the Owls sit top because they scored 4 goals and didn't concede any. So they've got the best goal difference. But the league table obviously is meaningless at this point. But for Plymouth, who were fortunate enough to survive last season, can't really afford a bad start again this season. It's not great to be sitting bottom on day one. It really is not great to be sitting bottom on day one. But 45 more games to turn things around. I think they'll be fine. But again, Wayne Rooney, not a particularly good football manager. And quite why Plymouth made the decision to hire him, I have no idea at all. No clue. Really don't get it, but we'll see what happens over the next few months. Into League One we go. Match day 1, of course. Barnsley 1, Mansfield 2. Stockport 2, Cambridge 0. Peterborough 0, Huddersfield 2. Peter will be disappointed because they view themselves as a promotion candidate this year. But obviously Huddersfield dropping in from the Championship will be looking to go straight back up. Bristol Rovers 1, Northampton Town 0. Leyton Orient 1, Bolton Wanderers 2. Burton 2, Lincoln City 3. Crawley Town 2, Blackpool 1. Exeter 1, Rotherham 0. Stevenage 1, Shrewsbury 0. Wigan 0, Charlton 1. Disappointing for Wigan, who will definitely have promotion ambitions this year. Wrexham, off back-to-back promotions, 3-2 winners over Wycombe, and fully deserving of their 3-2 win. They went 2-0 up through Clayward and Marriott. Richard Connick pulled 1 back. Stephen Fletcher made it 3-1. Sam Vokes got a late consolation that I think tainted the result a little bit. Now, Wycombe had a lot of shots in the game, but a lot of them came when Wrexham had gone ahead and were just coasting. I think Wrexham are going to be comfortable in mid-table this year. Don't see them as a promotion likely, but comfortable in mid-table, settle themselves in. And maybe next season we see another push for a shot in the Championship. The most disappointing result that anybody had this weekend will be Birmingham. It's a 1-1 draw at home to Reading. Now, obviously, both of these teams came out of the Championship. But Birmingham have spent so much money. Like, more money than all the clubs in League One and League Two combined, as I went through last week, they would have expected to win this game. They go 1-0 down. They need a late Alfie May penalty to rescue a point for them. Not great at all. League Two now. Oh, sorry, we'll just check in quickly on the table. Not that it matters, but Huddersfield are top, and Peterborough, obviously, who lost to them, are bottom. I think it's going to be a good season. Dude, I think Birmingham are just so fascinating this year because they spent all that money and there's so much pressure now. Given how they just sold themselves so badly last season. Into League Two, Chesterfield 1, Swindon Town 1, Cheltenham 3, Newport 2, Barrow 1, Crewe Alexandra 0, Harrogate 0, Bromley 2, Salford City 0, Port Vale 2. It's a joyous day when Gary Neville's team lose. Walsall 1, Morecambe 0, Gillingham 4, Carlisle 1, MK Dons 1, Bradford City 2, Tranmere 0, Notts County 0, Doncaster 4, Accrington Stanley 1, Fleetwood 1, Grimsby Town 0, AFC Wimbledon 4, Colchester 2. So, after match day 1, Doncaster are top, but only on alphabetical purposes because them and Gillingham both won 4-1. Those two, I do think, will be among the favourites to go up. I think AFC Wimbledon potentially this year as well have a good shot, and I quite like to look at some of Notts County's players. Carlisle and Accrington Stanley sit bottom, and that's just how it is. But it's, again, one game, so nothing for them to be getting too het up about. International League, which we might as well have a look at. Yeovil 0, Hartlepool 1, Oldham Athletic 3, Braintree Town 0, Maidenhead 0, Eastleigh 2, Boston United 0, Rochdale 3, Altrincham 1, Woking 0, Aldershot Town 3, Forest Green 3. You'll remember Forest Green have suffered back-to-back relegations and moved from League One into the National League. So they would have hoped to start off a bit better than that, I'd imagine. Halifax 2, Barnet 1. Barnet will be a promotion favourite this year, I think. Southend 1, York City 1. Field 3, Solihull Moors 2. Tamworth 1, Sutton 1. Gateshead 5, Ebbsfleet 1. Dagenham 2, Wealdstone 1. Now, Gateshead, you'll remember, got robbed in the playoffs last year and were not allowed to play a game because of an issue with the stadium. I'm hopeful they get promoted this year. I really am. So, hopefully they have the situation sorted, but they're the team I'm throwing a lot behind. And they are obviously now top after one game with the superior goal difference. Bottom, obviously, Ebbsfleet, who got the spanking. I suppose we could check in quickly on the Northern Premier League, purely because I want to see how Macclesfield get on this year. Let's have a look. They won their first game 1-0. Macclesfield, who of course went bust a couple of years ago and are having to start over, they went to Worksop Town and won 1-0. And Macclesfield, if you don't know, are managed this season by Robbie Savage, who appointed himself as manager. And we'll see how he gets on. I like what Robbie Savage has done in terms of throwing his lot into Macclesfield FC and, helping raise money for them, becoming a board member, director of football. I'm not overly keen on the fact that he appointed himself as head coach, but, one game, one win, and we'll see how he does from there. Speaking of managers that we must check in on, it is time to check in on everybody's favourite manager. Big Dunk Watch, Inverness Caledonian Thistle. So you'll remember that Big Dunk successfully got Inverness Caledonian Thistle relegated last year from the Scottish Championship into the Scottish League One. And, well, how's he done over pre-season and the start of this season? So, in their first pre-season match, they beat Clacknacudan 2-0. Then they lost 1-0 to Wraith Rovers. Brora Rangers beat them 4-1. Then in the Scottish League Cup, they lost 1-0 to Annan Athletic. They did beat Bonnyrig Rose 3-0, but then lost to Arbroath on penalties and then got hammered by Dundee 6-0. So fair to say the Scottish League Cup, not a good endeavour for Big Dunk this season. In terms of the league, I believe we've had multiple weeks, Scottish League One. Yeah, we've had 2 games. In the first game, Inverness drew 1-1 at home with 10-man Dumbarton. And then in their second game, they lost 1-0 to Annan Athletic. Now, Annan Athletic are not a team I'm overly familiar with. So they are in the town of Annan, Dumfries and Galloway. They play at the Gallowbank Stadium, which holds about 2,500 people. They're managed by a gentleman called Willie Gibson, who is actually a player manager. And they have beaten Big Dunk twice, which is absolutely magnificent. So how does that leave Big Dunk's managerial statistics? So 43 games in charge of Inverness, 14 wins, 14 draws, 15 defeats, 32.56% win rate. For the career then, 66 games, 16 wins, 20 draws, and 30 defeats. Magnificent Dunk. Absolutely tremendous stuff. Let's just have a quick gander through it here. Inverness. Yeah, so in their friendlies, they also beat Nairn County in a friendly. The Wraith Rovers game and Brora Rangers games were friendlies. League Cup. Yeah, they were put into Group D, and it obviously did not go very well. They will be playing in the Inverness Cup, which is the north of... in the Inverness Cup and the North of Scotland Cup, which I assume is because they're basically, a glorified part-time team now because of Big Dunk's inability to manage his own bowels, let alone manage a football team. Let's just quickly up a gander at the Scottish League Cup and how that works. So, So in the Scottish League Cup, looks like you play everybody twice, and there's no draws. If it ends in a draw, it goes to penalties, and you get a bonus point. You get a bonus point. It looks like for winning on penalties. Tremendous stuff altogether. Yeah, tremendous stuff. So one team will come out of the group and Inverness sit fourth of 5 teams. Bonnyrig Rose are in Scottish League 2. Arbroath are in League 1 and Athletic obviously are in League 1. And Dundee, obviously the kind of big hitter in that group, they're a Premiership team. So they should win that group comfortably and inflict further misery on Big Dunk. So, yeah, not going swimmingly for everybody's favourite Scottish manager. Not going swimmingly at all. There will be Big Dunk Watch throughout the season. We may have Robbie Savage watch as well, just to see, because I'm curious. We'll obviously keep track of Wayne Rooney. And Tom Cleverley is another young footballer who's just become a manager. He was obviously appointed manager of Watford on a permanent basis this summer. And his record is not great thus far, but he did get a win at the weekend. So 10 games, because obviously he was caretaker towards the end of last year. 10 games, 3 wins, 5 draws, 2 defeats. He has at least made them hard to beat. You know, he's not losing games. Big Doug loves to lose a game of football. But not so much for Tom Cleverley. Right, we'll be back after the break. See you in a sec.
This episode is brought to you by our good friends at NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. I'm sure by now you've all gotten back into your Sunday routines, but they could be even better. With NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get the most live NFL games all in one place, every game, every Sunday. And you can even watch up to 4 different games at once with Multiview, one of my favorite inventions of this decade. It's exactly what you need to catch all the action. Make your Sundays more magical. And also, YouTube TV is great. I got it this year. It's awesome. Sign up now at youtube.com/BS. Device and content restrictions apply. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games.
Yup, that's who you think it is. The Grimace Mug. The Hello Kitty keychain. Barbie herself. For a limited time, your favorite McDonald's collectibles filled with memories and magic are now on collectible cups. Get 1 of 6 when you order a collector's meal at McDonald's with your choice of a Big Mac or 10-piece McNuggets. Come get your cup while you still can. At participating McDonald's for a limited time while supplies last.
Right, welcome back. So let's get in and catch up on some transfers and what's taken place over the last couple of weeks and give out some early grades on teams' transfer windows so far. So Arsenal, they signed Ricardo Calafiori and obviously made the David Raya loan with the obligation a permanent move. They sold Emile Smith-Rowe, which I have to say isn't a deal I love, but they made a decision. I love it for Fulham. I don't like it for Arsenal. But they made the decision, and he made the decision, probably more pertinently, that he wanted to move on. So, look, Raya was there last year, so there's no improvement. Calafiori is a better defender than, in my opinion, than anyone else they have at the club. So I do think he improves them. But their defence wasn't an issue last year. So I really like the signing of Calafiori. I just don't think they've as yet really improved their team and made themselves a more likely title winner. So for that reason, I'll go with a B. If they add Moreno and maybe a forward, we'll see at that point. Moreno would be a good improvement, I think. But they're very much in a sell-to-buy situation. Like, the Raya money was accounted for last year. They sold Smith-Rowe to afford Calafiori, who they paid for in installments, not in a buyout. And Moreno, I'm guessing, will come in if they sell Nketiah or Nelson. But do they have money to do anything else after that? I'm not sure. Realistically, they've probably... Because they'll put Smith-Rowe down as 28 million of pure profit because he's an academy player. Calafiori, they'll try and spread that across 5 years. Raya, probably the same. They paid 27, I think, for Raya. I think 36 for Calafiori, so that gives us 63 million. So across the years, yeah, they're going to have, you know, a decent profit showing. Maybe they can afford to do the Moreno deal actually without selling Nketiah or Nelson. So they might actually do loans for both of them. But yeah, it's very much a book balancing summer for Arsenal because they spent so heavily in recent years. But we'll give them a B. Villa Onana, Matson, Archer, Philigen, Illing Jr., Dobbin, Berentia, and Barkley. It's an A window. It's an A window. To do all of that with a net spend that is realistically in and around 10 million is very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. I think they've had a tremendous summer. I really do. I think they've had an absolutely tremendous summer. I think they've bought really well, they've sold really well, and they're not finished. They're going to add at least one more in defence, maybe two. We could see Diego Carlos leave. It's an A window for Aston Villa. Bournemouth. Sinistera was there last year. Unal came in last year. To get him for 11 million, that alone makes it an A for me. Now, they have sold Solanke. They got a great price for him. Huge profit. But they've got to go and replace Dominic Solanke now, which we'll wait and see. So with the uncertainty over that, we're going to drop it from an A for just signing who's an unbelievable signing at that price. We'll give them a B. Swapping Kiefer Moore for Daniel Jebison and $1.5 million, also really good business. They did lose Lloyd Kelly, though. Thus far, the only confirmed deal for Brentford is Igor Thiago, but they have got Fabio Carvalho coming in as well. Now, they've paid a little bit more than I would pay for Fabio Carvalho, and they paid a little bit more than I would pay for Igor Thiago. And I also have doubts over whether or not these players assimilate into the system all that well, just because I think things have gone very stale there. But they're both solid deals. As yet, they haven't lost anybody of importance. We'll see if that stays the same. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation around Tony, but I would give them a C+. A C+. Brighton. Minta in, Vifer in, Osman in, Yalkoi in, Kozia Jubri in, Undav out well above market value. Pascal Grouse gone a blow, but he was past his best, in fairness. Good season last year, but at the same time, it was time to move on. It's an A window. They got Minta in, he's going to be a star. I think Osman's going to be a star. I think Yalkoi at 5 million. Long term is going to prove to be brilliant business. And the Kozia Jubri kid they got from Arsenal for free looks a hell of a talent. It's an A window for Brighton and Hove Albion. Chelsea, Pedro Neto, overpriced, but sensational talent when fit. When fit is key here. He's the first player they've brought in who definitely improves their starting 11. Dewsbury Hall's a decent squad option. Jurgensen's a talented young goalkeeper. Kellyman, who knows? Anselmino, who knows? Viega, who knows? Wiley, who knows? Guay, who knows? Like, these players might never play for Chelsea. They did bring in Tosin. It's a really good signing on a free for squad depth. But, I mean, all of that money spent, 160-ish million, and you've only signed one player who's going to improve your starting 11, one player who's a proven top 4 caliber player. They've sold pretty well, obviously. Maatsen, the whole deal became permanent. Hutchinson and Gallagher, but that's 4 academy players that you really should have been trying to keep. They are currently, we thought they were getting a more Dion. That deal fell through for reasons that have not been made public. It looks like they're going to sign João Felix again, who wasn't good the last time he was there, because they're so desperate for the Conor Gallagher deal to go through. If they pay permanent fee for him, he's going to be on colossal wages as well. It's a C window. It's a C window all day. Crystal Palace, Chadi Riyad, really good signing. Ismail Assar, really good signing. Daichi Kamada on a free, unbelievable signing. It's a shame to lose Elise. They may yet lose one or two others. There's obviously been a bid from Fulham over the weekend for Anderson. Newcastle have bid for Guehi. There's interest in Eze. There's interest in Wharton. We'll see how it goes. But for right now, I think it's a B+. I do think it's a B+. I think they've spent money really well on Riyad and Sarr, and Kamada on a free is just brilliant business. Losing Elise is a blow, but they got a decent fee for him. Everton, I like the signing of Jake O'Brien. I really like the signing of Iliman and Jai. Iruk Bunam, I think, will surprise some people. I think he's a decent player. And I like getting Lindstrom on a loan. No risk there. They did sell Onana. Got a decent price from him, but he's really good. Sold Godfrey, sold Dobbin. I'll give them a B- thus far for their business. They've made a decent profit, which is a big part of it. That's why it's not a C. They haven't addressed some issues, is my issue there. Like, who's scoring the goals? Who's holding your midfield together? These are things I think they need to address. Fulham, Emile Smith-Rowe in and Cuenca in, and Ryan Sessegnon on a free. They did lose João Palhinha, but in terms of their incoming business, I really, really like it. It's 3 players I like. All 24 years of age, all with big upside. I think that's it. A B+ window. Thus far, they still need to replace Palhinha, though, and they've obviously still got to replace Tosin. They lost in a free, but we're just looking at incomings. I think it's a B+. Ipswich, Amari Hutchinson, Jacob Greaves, Liam Delap, and Muric. I don't like Muric. The more I think about it, the more I dislike that move. But he is an upgrade on what they had. He has played in the Premier League. It should be okay. Really like Hutchinson. Love the signing of Greaves. I think that's a great bit of business for them. I'm going to give them an A. An A-. I'm going to give them an A-. They're a newly promoted team. They're coming up, spending money, being ambitious. That's what I like to see. I'm going to give them an A-. Leicester City. Fatua, Okoli, Golding, Di Cordova-Reid on a free, and Buenanote in on loan is one I do like. Also, I forgot with Ipswich. They signed Ben Johnson. That's part of why it's an A-. He's a good player. For Leicester, they obviously lost Dewsbury Hall. They lost Iheanacho. They loaned out Harry Suter. They lost Pryor. They lost Albrighton. But the business thus far has been pretty solid. They haven't spent a ton of money because Albrighton covered most of the fees for everything else. There's a couple of players been linked to them. We'll see if they work out. Right now, I'll give them a B-, but, work to do. Liverpool, they haven't done anything. So, NG, no grade to be given. Man City, they brought in Savinho. It's just an academy promotion, really, because he was owned by them. They sold Howard Bellis, sold Julian Alvarez. They've made an absolute fortune this summer in sales. But they haven't done anything, so I'm going to say no grade for them as well. United, significant overpay for Lenny Yoro, but he is very talented. They got Josh Xerxes, decent player. Looks like De Ligt will come in today, and Mazraoui. Wan-Bissaka going out, Greenwood going out, Kambwala going out. £35 million loss on Wan-Bissaka, by the way. And he's only 27. And it's actually going to be less than that, or more than that, rather, because they're going to pay him a bunch of money to go away. Just what a shocking club. But De Ligt I think he's a poor boy. I just don't think he's Premier League caliber. Well, he's Premier League caliber, but I don't think he's like top tier Premier League caliber. He was disappointing at Juve. He's been very disappointing for Bayern. The 5 straight disappointing seasons with him. He turns like an oil freighter. I think he gets caught out playing in the high line of the Premier League. I did notice Martinez played left back at the weekend. I didn't think he looked all that comfortable. I wouldn't be surprised he played there a decent amount this year. They're spending money. I just don't think they're spending it well. B-. Newcastle, Lewis Hall, Vlachodimos, Osola, Lloyd Kelly. Sold Anderson, sold Minta. Thus far, they've made a profit on the window. I don't think they've gotten any better, though. Lloyd Kelly's a strong backup centre-back or left-back. Lewis Hall, they had last year. He's the best signing. They had him last year. Vlachodimos, I assume, will be third-choice keeper, backup keeper, who knows. Osula I like. I think it's a good squad addition for the long term, but it's a C window so far. They haven't done anything of real note. Nottingham Forest then, Elliot Anderson. It's an overpay, but I do like him. I think he's a really good talent. Milenkovic, they massively underpaid for, so I really like that one. Jota Silva is talented. We'll see how he does. Stemenic, I don't know much about. Carlos Miguel, I watched a bit of recently, and he looks talented, but we'll see. I don't know anything about the Silva Moreira kid, so, I'm going to give them a B- because I really like the Milenkovic signing, especially at that price. So I think that's fair enough. They also sold Niakate, Vlachodimos, Mangala, Remo Freuler. They're good sales. So thus far things are going pretty well. Southampton. Harwood Bellis, I think, was really good to keep. Flynn Downs, it's an overpay, but he's important to them. Brereton Diaz is a great signing, well undervalued as well. Sugawara, solid backup, right back. Love the signing of Edwards, like the signing of Nathan Wood. Charlie Taylor on a free is a good signing. Lallana is a nothing player, so whatever. But he'll add veteran leadership, so that's fine. I think it's a solid B thus far, but still a lot of work to do. Spurs, Solanke, Archie Gray, Bergval, the Korean kid that's set to come in January as well. Yang looks a player, but who knows. Sold Emerson Royale, got cash for him as well, great deal. Sold Joe Rodon, that brought down the price of Gray. I think it's a strong window from Spurs. They got the 9 they need. They've added 2 of the best young midfield talents in Europe. I'm going to give them an A-. They've still got some work to do, but I think thus far Spurs have done really well. It's a little pricey on Solanke, admittedly, based on one season in the Premier League. But his all-round game has always been excellent. The goals were the issue. Last season, he solved that. His season last year was better than Ivan Toney's season the season before. No, the season before that. In terms of just raw numbers. He's not as good an all-round player as Toney, but he offers more off the ball in terms of pressing and just chasing lost causes. So I think it's a comparable move. Good signing. And the grade, I love the grade deal for them. A-. West Ham United. Max Kilman, really good, but they overpaid for him. Somerville's a good signing. Fulkrug is a good signing, but it is a risk. Guilherme is a big-time bet on talent. Like, he's only 18. He's probably a year or 2 away, but superbly talented. Wes Fotheringham is neither here and there. Guido Rodriguez on a free is a really good get. A really, really good get. And then to get Todibo in on a loan with an obligation, it's just very, very good business. It's an A window for West Ham United. Wolves, Rodrigo Gomes comes in, Pedro Lima comes in, they keep Tommy Doyle, they loan in Strand Larson, they sell Neto, they sell Kilman. There's no question they're an awful lot worse now than they were at the end of last season. They've got a lot of work to do. I'm not sure anybody they've signed is going to be a starter for them. Maybe Strand Larson, and with Neto gone, it probably is Strand Larson. But they've got a lot of work to do, and they better get to it quickly. Right now, I'm giving them a C, and I've been polite. I've been polite with all of them and giving them C. I'm not giving anybody bad grades. The only thing was had an outright bad window yet, but there's still time. There's still time for Chelsea to sign 15 more players. I'll give them a C maybe. I think it's the worst window so far of the teams that have done stuff, just because they haven't improved. And when we look at what they've sold, they have gotten worse. There's no question. They're worse in defence and worse in attack. I would argue that they lost their best defender and their best attacker. Some people will say Cunha. I would rather Neto, but I do really like Cunha. Yeah, not great. Not great. So I think the best windows: Villa, Brighton, West Ham. I think they're the 3 that have had the best windows. I would say Villa have had the best. I would actually go A+ on Villa. A on Brighton and West Ham. I think they're comparable windows in terms of addressing team needs. Both still have some work to do. West Ham at full-back, Brighton at centre-back. Brighton might add a midfielder as well. I think Brighton are going to be active in the next years. Looks like they're still in for Matt O'Reilly. They're trying to bring in Kurdioglu, the Turkish fullback. Mats Hummels has been linked. I'm not overly keen on Mats Hummels at this point in his career, but you know, it is what it is. West Ham have to add a fullback. They have to go and add a fullback. Wan-Bissaka will help, obviously, but I still want a left back there if I'm them. I still want a left back in the door. Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman. That's 3/4 of potentially good defence, though. You've got a good goalkeeper in Areola. Midfield, I could see Guido taking a starting role next to Alvarez. Somerville left. Bowen right. Fulkrug is the 10. Fulkrug is the 9. Kudus is probably the 10. They probably know Paquette is getting banned. So I think that's what the team is going to be, which would leave Ward-Prowse out of the team, and I think that's the right decision. Yeah, there we go. Right, back after the break. Right, welcome back. So we're going to go through the gossip and see what's going on. We'll start with the spoofer, because he's just 400 tweets a day, so we might as well. João Felix has said yes to Chelsea. Okay. Nico Williams has said he's staying with Athletic Bilbao. Spurs have signed Mikey Moore to a professional contract. Juventus have sent a bid to AC Milan for Pierre Kalulu. 3 million loan with an option to buy. Bojan MUFC is going to Girona. They've gotten just plucked apart this summer. It's going to be a tough year for them. Brooke Norton-Cuffy is going to Genoa from Arsenal on the cheap. That's a good deal for Genoa. Crystal Palace are considering Odilon Kasunu and Maxence Lacroix as centre-back replacements if Mark Guehi goes. Max Bayer is a done deal to Dortmund. Kingsley Coman is available on loan. Julian Alvarez has signed his contract officially at Atletico Madrid. Napoli are signing Mark Brescianini. Okay. Olympique Marseille are trying to sign Elia Wahi. That's instead of signing Eddie Nketiah. Chris Meffam is leaving Bournemouth, though nobody knows where. Lateral Gertruda could potentially end up at Villa. Delict and Mazraoui looks like it's pretty close to being done. Liverpool have set a price of 20 million for Sepp Vandenberg. Armel Bella-Kotchap is going to Hoffenheim. Strasbourg have completed the deal to sign Diego Moreira from Chelsea on a permanent deal. Oh, this is hilarious. He's moving from the A team to the B team, and they're going to try and fiddle their books to claim that it costs money. Lautaro Martinez has signed a new contract with Inter. El Yawahi is a done deal, it looks like. Tottenham and AC Milan have signed everything for Emerson Royale. Mentioned that one. Eddie Nketiah to Marseille is off. Wan-Bissaka to West Ham is a done deal. Yeah, Max Bayer. Okay, Ibrahim Osman is going from Feyenoord to Brighton on loan. No option to buy. It was going to be Buenanote. They've decided for Osman. It makes sense for all parties because Feyenoord lost Minta, who's actually, funnily enough, ended up at Brighton via Newcastle. So this one makes sense to come in as a replacement. Kevin Durant is now a minority stakeholder in PSG. Okay. Calvin Stengs is going to Charlotte from Feyenoord. Julian Alvarez has signed a 6-year contract with Atletico Madrid. Charlotte are also looking to sign Miguel Almiron. Okay, interesting. And that is all from our friend the Spoofer. What does David Ornstein have from today? Absolutely nothing, because he doesn't feel the need to try to tweet 25 times a day. There's a story on the BBC website that says Newcastle have made another bid for Mark Guehi, believed to be in the region of 60 million. We'll see how true that is. The PFA Young Player of the Year awards have been, the nominations rather have been announced. On the men's side, Cole Palmer, Bukayo Saka, Kobe Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho, and João Pedro of Brighton. Oh, and Michael Elise. Now, he missed a lot of the seasons. I don't think it'll be him. But he was brilliant when he played. And then on the women's side, it is Lauren James, Kira Keating, Aggie Beaver-Jones, Maya Letitia, Jess Park, and Grace Clinton. Okay, so there we go. With that, we might as well just do the gossip then. There's no real point in doing Saturdays because it's so old. We'll just do Sunday and Monday. In Irish news, John O'Shea will be an assistant manager to our horrendously cheap appointment. Manchester United wing up a move for Evan Ferguson. No, they're not. Aaron Wan-Bissaka will get a $5.6 million payoff to make up the shortfall in salary for joining West Ham, which means that United will have actually lost $40.6 million. That's horrendous. Okay. Napoli sporting director Giovanni Manna says Victor Osimhen is asked to leave. Everybody's known that one. Chelsea have told Napoli they must pay $36 million to sign Romelu Lukaku. I wouldn't pay it personally. Benfica and Barcelona are interested in João Felix. Looks like he might go to Chelsea, though. Aston Villa and Real Betis are keen on Giovanni Lo Celso. He's obviously played for Betis in the past and played under Unai Emery. So, yeah, I suppose it makes sense. Wolves are prepared to consider offers of €20 million for Fabio Silva. Mad that anyone would pay that from, but Wolves paid £40 million for him. So, Crystal Palace are in talks sign back since Lacroix. Eric Ten Hag does not expect Casemiro to leave United this summer. Trevoh Chalobah is on Crystal Palace and Aston Villa's list, having been barred from using the first team facilities at Chelsea, which is just disgraceful. Carry on. Bournemouth are close to signing Julian Araujo. I believe that one's done from Barcelona. Good right-back addition. Chelsea are planning to sell or loan at least 6 players. At least 6. They need to sell about 12. Someone will get a really good signing with Trevoh Chalobah. Looks like Carney Chukwuemeka as well. Rumours today that Palace are trying to sign him. It'd be a great get for them. Several Premier League clubs have held talks with Bayer Leverkusen over the availability of Adam Glozic. It does look like it's going to be Leicester who grab him. Arsenal are planning a move for Kingsley Coleman. No, they're not. Ivan Toney is being looked at by Saudi Pro League teams. I just don't see him doing that, but maybe he will. João Felix. Newcastle are targeting United striker Nikita Paris as they look to achieve promotion to the Women's Super League. Stuttgart are in talk to sign Armando Broja. Would make sense after Guirassy left. AC Milan are keen to buy Tammy Abraham, but face competition from Bournemouth, Everton and Leicester. And obviously Bournemouth now with a bit of cash behind them after the Solanke deal. Abraham would be a really good get for Bournemouth. He really would. Nottingham Forest have rejected Atalanta's bid of $17 million for Nico Williams. Virgil van Dijk says he has not been offered a contract yet. Excuse Molly, I can't do anything about it at the moment. Ederson is staying with Man City. Brentford have agreed a deal to sign Jens, who's has been gone for weeks now. Max Bayer to Dortmund. And Leicester City have made a $23.2 million bid for Panathinaikos striker Fotis Ioannidis as they continue talks to bring in Wilf Zaha from Galatasaray as well. So there we go, folks. That's the gossip. I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Yup, that's who you think it is. The Grimace Mug. The Hello Kitty keychain. Barbie herself. For a limited time, your favorite McDonald's collectibles filled with memories and magic are now on collectible cups. Get one of 6 when you order a collector's meal at McDonald's with your choice of a Big Mac or 10-piece McNuggets. Come get your cup while you still can. At participating McDonald's for a limited time while supplies last.